She's down under, but she's on top of the world, and she won't stop. Flying free, no looking back, turning every crack into a map. Hello, beautiful. Welcome to another episode of Likha Love. Today's special guest is Solange Nahlous. Solange is a wellness and performance coach, specializing in helping women rebuild strength, resilience, and confidence through intelligent training and sustainable lifestyle practices. With a particular focus on postpartum recovery and long-term body composition, she integrates strength training, mobility, and mindset to deliver results that are both effective and enduring. As a mother of three, Solange brings professional expertise and lived experience to her work, empowering women to perform, feel, and live at their highest level while restoring confidence and elevating their standards across their training, nutrition, and life in general. Solange has been my yoga instructor for about a year now, and I cannot wait for you guys to get to know her. Hey everybody, welcome Solange. Thank you, Solange, for being here on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are speaking right now at your gym that you train at. Can you explain just a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I am a trainer, personal coach. I work with both males and females, but I do have a preference for working with females. I think we're underrepresented in the industry.
Definitely.
So I try to go out of my way to get in as many female clients as I can. I come from a background initially as a yoga instructor. So my initial training was in yoga, which I've been doing for 6 years now. And from that and mobility and movement, I kind of, I don't want to say I fell into personal training. I kind of branched off into personal training. I was kind of inspired by a number of things, one of them being one of my favorite yoga instructors online that I used to follow during COVID on YouTube and do some classes with her. I had an inkling that she was a strength trainer for women just from the way that she spoke and the way she came across and the way that she also taught her yoga classes. And it kind of inspired me to look into strength training for myself. And then from there, that kind of branched off. And then I moved into the industry to work as a personal trainer. Well, to get qualified first and then to work as a trainer. So this is my background. This is my career. I work training people, helping them move better, to live better, to feel better. Because at the end of the day, that's, health. Your health is your wealth.
Yes.
As I'm always telling people, investing in yourself is the biggest and best investment you'll ever make in life.
That's right. Because when you are healthy, you don't have any problems to worry about really. But when you're not healthy, you have a lot of problems you have to think about.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you think of something as simple as like a cold or a flu and it knocks you out, the first thing you want is just to be better, to be able to get onto your feet and just get about. So you can imagine that with more serious illnesses that would come along in life, if we leave ourselves and neglect our bodies and our general health and well-being, this is where my passion for working.
Yeah. With my daughters and I, who have been sick for the first time in a long time, we had really bad sinus crud a week ago, and I'm still sounding a little rough at the moment, but my daughter was like, you don't realize, how you really don't think about how great you are, how great life is until you are sick. Like you don't realize how good life is until you are sick and you're having to worry about a sickness.
Exactly.
And with my background with so much chronic health, being on so many medications that didn't help me, I'm so grateful for where I am today. Just my health is my number one thing that I am proud of.
Yeah,
When I took control of my health and started to feel better and look better, that's when my life really shifted, is when I
100%.
started realizing how important health is to me.
That's
And one
right. That's
thing
right.
that as a woman as well, like, I watch you on your social media teaching about strength training, and I want you to explain, why you think strength training is important for women as well. And because I know a lot of people, they associate fitness with just weight loss, but um, I remember you posted something that resonated with me, and it was talking about like being strong. I mean, it's your post. It's like being strong so you can, like, you know, stick up for yourself and
Pretty much.
stand up for yourself as a woman.
Pretty much. Yeah. That was, I think you're referring to a recent post I put up, just with so much going on at the moment. This year, every time we think that things can't get worse, they get worse. I feel like they're just gradually walking towards the apocalypse or something. I don't even know what to refer to it as anymore. But it's a general feeling I find that with other female trainers as well, that we're in that similar headspace and we share similar values, where for us training is more, it's not just for aesthetics, it's for your well-being, yes, but it's also we're like, you know what, we actually have to quite seriously, because of the world we're living in, if you had to carry your child to safety, if you had to run, literally run for your life, could you do that? If you
Yeah.
had to carry your child and run with your child for your life, could you do that? A lot of people will probably say, yeah, in the moment, it's that adrenaline that kicks in. Not to take away from that at all, but also there has to be an element of realism and thinking to yourself, if, God forbid, you're in the park, your child's playing, a stranger approaches them, are you strong enough, one, not just to get to your child in time, but can you actually, arc up, as we say, to like get that stranger away from your child? We know that with us as women, and we know statistically with predators, whether it's they're after women or with children, the more noise we make, the more fearful they become. So it's all about being loud. But I feel like being loud vocally, it's not enough. We have to be loud with our bodies too, right? For so long as women, we've been told, be small, be petite, be focus on aerobic training. Fantastic, yeah, this is good. Aerobic training is great. It's great to train our heart. It's great to train our lungs. But it's almost like for such a long time, and if you look back through it, like it's not that long ago, like heroin chic was in the 90s. I grew up, I was born in the 80s, I grew up, my childhood was the 90s and 2000s, and I've still got, the clear pictures of the celebrities and that, like that show, Next Top Model, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those shows. And what did they really teach us? Be smaller, be thinner,
Be fragile.
be fragile, be weak, be, the damsel in distress. But why? Why can't I be strong? Why can't I be big and be strong and powerful and loud? If we look at the animal kingdom, it's very much the males go out and they hunt and all that in the animal kingdom, and it's the females that are leading the packs, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
they're
the lions.
protecting everybody.
It's the lionesses that are ones that are strong. They're the ones that look after the kids. They're the ones that hunt. Whereas with us as humans, we've been encouraged for so long as females to just be meek and mild and quiet and
Stay in the kitchen.
stay in the kitchen, very traditional roles. Like, if this is your choice to do that kind of role nowadays, power to you. This is fine. When it comes to physical training, I think as women, just to go back to your question, it's so important that we do focus on our physical training, not just for aesthetics. Aesthetics is great. If you want to look a particular way so that mentally you feel a particular way, this is awesome. But I say to my clients when they set a particular weight, for example, or a goal weight they want to reach, I do say to them, okay, we'll work towards it, but I just want to let you know that your quality of life is going to improve in general as you start to look after your health, and things will start to get better, and you'll find that you'll have other wins that are not related just to weight loss. But I want you to also remember that that number on the scale is not going to be a scale of your happiness. It's not, what's on the scale is not going to measure your happiness. You could get to 45 kilos, 50, whatever it is, 60 kilos. It doesn't mean the day you get to that goal weight, it's going to make you happy. So this is where I like to work with women on also educating them around strength training and getting stronger. And as we get older as women, into our 30s, our late 30s, as we get into our 40s, we actually start to lose muscle mass each year as we start to get older. So we're kind of like fighting the clock and fighting our, not fighting our bodies, but our bodies, it's just part of our hormone structure. So we have to then work with our bodies, do our cardio training. Cardio training is fantastic. We know that as we also get older, things like plyometrics is fantastic for women. So jumping exercises, if we can do them, things that help the heart rate, things that help us to work on balance as well, our mobility, our functional mobility training, and lifting weights. The biggest fear women seem to have is getting bulky. When they lift weights, this is something I encounter almost every time. And I find that it tends to be, sometimes it's, I wish I could say it was just a cultural thing, like certain cultures are scared of gaining muscle. If they're women, they like to remain a particular kind of look or what. It crosses boundaries.
Yeah, I think it's all cultures.
All cultures, most women will sit there and say, I don't want to get bulky, I don't want to get big. And I say to them, unless you are intentionally aiming to do bodybuilding and be on very, very strict diets and to pop some testosterone or something into your body, something which we already naturally have, but increasing that, you're not going to get bulky. You're going to get that beautiful lean physique that you may be after. You'll start to get stronger. You'll build muscle. Where you need to build muscle, you will increase your mineral bone density as well. As we get older, the risk for things like arthritis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis increase as well. And so strength training helps us to build that muscle. It's almost like a cushioning around the bones that we need to help prevent those really serious injuries if we were to take a fall. Not to mention you get stronger as well, physically stronger. And I find that a lot of women, as they start to find that they're building muscle and they're getting stronger, it's almost like a flower that starts to blossom. Like I've seen it myself, where just the confidence that comes from having a woman who is physically strong, it's like it filters into like the brain, and then she becomes mentally strong as well. It's almost like a transformation starts to take place when she realizes, I can do this or I can do that. And yeah, it's really beautiful to see.
Yeah, you end up stepping into this version of yourself that you didn't know existed, and you're more confident. And it's so funny because my goal is ultimately, to be stronger. And one of the things that is a big confidence booster is that, see, I have a family of 5 siblings, and when my parents were moving, everybody's busy, everybody's working, I just had a baby, I had a 1-year-old, and we were moving from, a house down to a 2-bedroom unit, and everybody's busy, and I'm here with my dad lifting furniture, just me and him,
Flex.
carrying the couch. We're like giving things away, selling furniture, and we're delivering it to people's homes, and they're asking us to remove their couch out of their living room into the curb, and I'm there with my dad picking this, and my dad's 70, and
Yeah,
he took control of his life. He was a diabetic for like 2 months, and he was overweight, and he transformed his life when he started running, and now he does marathons. And he's
incredible.
71 doing marathons, and
That's
we're
incredible.
picking up furniture together, us two who look so skinny, like we have no
Yeah,
muscle,
yeah,
but it's just amazing to be able to do things like that and not have
yeah.
to hire somebody all the time just to pick up a piece of furniture. That's how important, strength training is, and that's how you can incorporate that into your daily life.
Yeah,
It's not just about looking like you're strong, but actually using that strength into your daily life.
that's right. That's right. And that's something else I want to point on is the whole look of it. People will assume either if you're too small, you must not be that strong. And then when they see you carry a weight that almost, I guess, looks like your body weight, just the
Yeah.
shock on their faces, that realization that, oh my goodness, this person's actually quite
Yeah,
strong.
I love that reaction. I swear, it's like one of my favorite reactions when people are like, "Oh no, that's too heavy, don't care." And I'm like, "This is nothing."
They're like, watch me.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, or even the other way, like, people look at someone and assume, oh, they look unhealthy, and they don't realize that actually, no, they might be quite fit, and that look of they look unhealthy might in fact be someone who is a little bit more muscular or just carries their weight a little bit differently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very, very important, especially for us as women, as we get older and as we approach the perimenopause years as well, and menopause, because our hormones at this stage, they they do not come to play. They are quite serious in those years. There's a lot of changes through the body. It affects everything from your memory to your sleep. And I think if you can at least take control of one thing in this transitional period as we grow, I think taking control of your body and being able to control how you show up for yourself is going to make all the difference.
Yes, for sure. One big thing for me, and this is why I started this podcast, is like I just want people to start waking up to themselves and realizing, that they need to love themselves and show up for themselves, because that was something that I wasn't taught growing up. And, my parents weren't taught that. It became like self-love was such a taboo thing. And self-love is not like, back in the day when we were kids, like we'd be like, "Oh, she's such a lovo," like
Yeah,
someone who's just like
that's
obsessed
right.
with themselves. It's not
That's
that
right.
at all.
No.
Self-love is self-care, prioritizing yourself, because you are the only one living in your body. Like your body, your inner child, that is your responsibility, your number one responsibility. If you don't
Exactly.
take care of you, who is?
Exactly. Exactly.
We
And
need to stop
especially,
waiting for someone to come save us and start,
oh,
taking responsibility for ourselves.
100%. And if you, like for yourself, you're a mom, I'm a mom myself, I've got 3 kids. If we don't model that self-care behavior to our children, we kind of set the standard for them. So they'll think it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
just let their health go. And I find that if your discipline around health goes, you tend to be less disciplined with other things in life as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I don't mean this as in, if you can't be disciplined around your health, you've got no self-discipline anywhere else. But a big measure of how you show up for yourself, I would say, is how you'll then show up for others in life. If you
Mm-hmm.
carve out that time to care for yourself, I promise you, it is never a waste of time. As mums, if we put ourselves first, it is not selfish at
Mm-mm.
all. Because the moment you let yourself, whether it's you let yourself in terms of your health, your mental health as well, or your mental clarity kind of get bogged down with not just with responsibilities, with everything. When you are carrying way too many plates and you cannot balance those plates, you will fall under the weight of those. So it starts with taking care of yourself first, and then everything else just kind of stems out. I promise you, I know from experience myself.
Oh, yes, for sure. I know from experience, and the life that I had back before I started caring for myself, like as if I am somebody who is special and worthy to be loved and cared for, instead of waiting for someone to give me that. When I started doing that for myself, like my whole life transformed, my mind transformed,
100%.
my reality around me transformed. And then people, because back in the day when I had no self-worth, I was allowing so many people who also didn't see my worth, right? Because you attract who you are.
100%, yes.
You attract who you are. So I was attracting people who didn't know how to love and care for me because I didn't know how to love and care for me.
That's right.
And I don't want my children to go through what I went through, all because I didn't know how to love myself and care for myself.
And you'll probably find that because you now know how to put yourself first and love yourself, you are more likely to then self-advocate, and you're also a stronger voice to advocate for your children where you need to as well, without being scared that the other voices are going to overwhelm you. You're going to be a lot more powerful to stand on your own 2 feet and not back.
Yes, definitely. I've definitely finally gotten to that point in my life where, I know my truth, I know my worth, and I am not going to change or, belittle myself just to make someone feel comfortable, or change, put on a mask. So, I don't trigger anybody. Like somebody else's triggers and somebody else's, insecurities are not my responsibility. And to be able to change from someone who is such a people pleaser to someone who's like, no, like I'm not responsible for how you feel. That's your responsibility. You need to deal with that. And it really, I mean, that process, my daughter, my 11-year-old, she knows all this. She knows. And I'm so glad that I have transformed my life to where now I am not just teaching her this, but I am an embodiment of what I've learned. So I'm an example of how, she needs to be, as she's becoming a woman. I want her to be that confident woman that loves herself and knows her worth and is not going to change for anyone. She's going to know her truth and she's going to stand by her truth. And I love that. I love seeing her, her confidence grow as my confidence grows. And
that's a beautiful thing to see, especially at that age, because as well at that age they do go through a transition as well, don't they?
Yes. I'm kind of I'm trying not to worry about it, but I keep hearing all these things because everything's new for me, everything's new for her. And then I'm also going through my changes as I'm hitting close to 40. So it's all new to all of us. I have another question. So I wanted this is such a tricky subject, especially growing up in a Christian household. I know you through yoga, and honestly, like before I even started yoga, I was doing stretches at home that my chiropractor in America had given me, and I was looking at it. I'm like, these just look like yoga stretches. And so when I came to Australia, I started seeing you, and I met you through yoga classes. Growing up as a Christian, when I do mention yoga, I kind of get looks like, you go to yoga? Like, like it's been really demonized by Christian, the Christian religion, and it's been demonized, and it's considered spiritually dangerous, and what you're opening yourself up for demonic entities, and just things like that
You're
that
not saying anything that's new to me or anything that I haven't heard before.
I want to know your thoughts on that.
Okay, so before I guess started practicing yoga, I wasn't too familiar with it. So for myself, I also just kind of associated yoga with one of two things. One was either what I used to see on Instagram, which was beautiful, skinny, white females doing all kinds of acrobatic looking stretches.
Yeah.
And they'd call it yoga. Or people who were, either Indian or Sri Lankan or Hindus doing yoga as well. So there was that cliche in my mindset. For me, it wasn't until I became a yoga practitioner myself and then started to encounter this topic of, it's demonic, or it's this, or it's that, and I was like, oh, okay. And look, I'm not going to lie to you and say that when you are studying to become a yoga instructor, you do not look at the origins of yoga, because we do. Because to be frank, yoga itself, and I'm not speaking to you of the modern yoga that you would come and do in a yoga studio or in a gym. I'm speaking about the ancient practice of yoga that's thousands of years old. It had its roots in spirituality, yes, it did. The yoga that we now have in the 21st century and in gyms is so watered down and has changed so much that I suppose it's no different to stretches that a chiropractor might give you, or that you may encounter through the breath work that they sometimes give athletes to do as well. We can take the lessons, I suppose, from yoga and look at it, and I think the beauty of yoga, what makes it different to, I guess, another exercise. So when you come to the gym, you might come and take a HIIT class or do a strength class, and they've got a certain kind of, I guess, rhythm to them, if that makes sense. So the classes go a certain way, and you're doing reps, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and there's music, and you might stop and pause and have a chat with a friend. And then you come to a yoga class and it's different. And I feel like sometimes when people come to yoga to do yoga for the first time, they assume it's going to be all candles and incense and namaste and om shanti and chanting, and I don't know what they expect, but they, by the end of it, a lot of people that do it for the first time, they say, oh my goodness, that was actually really tough. I didn't realize how physical yoga was. I thought that we would just be meditating for a lot of it. And we do have meditation at the start and at the end. And for people that, like yourself, who may come from a Christian background, I don't think it's the practice itself that they fear. I think it's the misconception and the misunderstanding of not quite understanding what it is that yoga itself has become in the latter half of the 20th century and in this century. Now, it's so broad. We could speak about how yoga has undergone so many changes, and it's also been to a degree whitewashed, I guess. But on the back of that, if I was to say yoga's been whitewashed, then I've got to be honest and delve into where does the biggest fear factor come from. And it's actually, a lot of that stems from America. And if I was to say to you, okay, which denomination or which Christian group is really like the hammer on it. We know that it's probably your more hardline evangelical Christian who are more by the book, and all respect to them. I have no disrespect. I'm a Christian myself, so I can completely understand and empathize. So it's this fear of not really understanding what the practice is. A lot of where this misunderstanding, I suppose, comes from, and this fear around yoga comes from. I find anyway from my research and when we've looked into it, whether it's myself or some other colleagues, it does tend to be from white evangelical America, unfortunately. And there's quite a hard line on, no, you don't do yoga because it opens up gateways and the poses. They're like poses to the gods or whatever it might be. And look, I think as yoga instructors, we have a responsibility, and it's something you've probably heard in my classes where I encourage people to take the lessons we learn on the mat, off the mat with us into daily life. And it's not to say go off and worship off the mat and do those kinds of things. No, but the calm and that clarity and that sense of peace that you kind of work towards on the mat, and that sense of learning to become comfortable as we sit in the uncomfortable, because sometimes some of the stretches we do can be quite uncomfortable. This is what we encourage to take, and this is then what I would say would be a good way to broach the topic with someone who probably says to you, oh no, but it's not something we should do as Christians. Is I would say to them, look, it has become a secular practice, especially in Western countries. Yoga, it's no longer a spiritual practice, and it's accessible, and we try to invite everyone to come and to try it at least once. It's not about flexibility, and it's not about touching your toes, as we say. It's about the lessons you learn on the way down, and it's just about being a little bit more open-minded to what it might mean to move your body and move with your body, and rather than thinking to yourself that, practicing yoga is going to be one of those things that I shouldn't be doing as a Christian. Again, I would bring it back and say it's just a practice of movement, just like any other practice. And as an instructor myself, in my classes, I can't speak for all instructors. For myself, I use very, very little Sanskrit in my class. So these poses, the asanas themselves, I don't really use the traditional names for those.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've attended my classes, so you would know. So everything is said in the English. The meditations, I very much try to keep any use or relation to chakras out of it. I try to keep them quite secular. And I find that a number of teachers also, they're like that. There's been a shift in the practice so that we can make it accessible for everyone, because there are massive benefits.
Yes, there is. I definitely love it just because I know it's so good for me. I remember when I first joined the gym and they had a Bhangra class at the same time, and I remember they were asking me, well, can you do yoga one week and then Bhangra the next week? Because it was at the same time when I first started. And I said, no, yoga's priority.
Yeah, and I feel like it just in the busyness of what this world has become, it's just 1 hour to show up for yourself. It's that act of self-love where you just get to be in a place which is a safe space, where I hold space for everyone to just show up as you are. There, I might approach you if it looks like you might be hurting yourself in a particular stretch. But other than that, there's no wrong way to do yoga. It's not performative. It should never be performative.
Mm-hmm.
So what we see on social media, and I think again, this is the misconception around it, why people have the concepts they might have of it sometimes, is the misinformation that is out there. I would say come to a yoga class and
Yeah,
see
and
for
see for
yourself then
yourself.
what
Mm-hmm.
it is like. And you might be surprised, because I don't know about you, but in my classes, I'm not invoking on any day.
Yeah.
And any incense that might be being burnt in the room is purely for aesthetics and just to make the space feel a little more cozy and make it smell a little more pleasant, especially in the gym
Yeah.
environment. Um, and it's always nice, yes, to have the lights dimmed a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
no one wants to meditate or be sitting and try to focus on clearing their mind in a brightly lit room. It's just a
Yes,
lot more
yes.
pleasant if it feels like a safer, quieter, more
Mm-hmm.
wholesome space. So this is probably how I would approach it. In the past, I used to get a little bit, more like passionate about it, but part of being, I guess, older and understanding where people are coming from so I can meet them where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's just approaching them with kindness as well, and just encompassing the values that I've learned myself on the yoga mat. Like, I'm constantly learning something new every time I show up on my mat
Yeah.
in my practice. And it's just about meeting people where they're at when they've got those misunderstandings, and letting them know, you know what, if you feel quite uncomfortable that this practice might be based around Hinduism, let's flip the coin and make it then a practice where this is you praying to your God.
Mm-hmm.
And, make it a practice where, you're grateful to God for giving you this body that can move,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling gratitude for the breath that is in your lungs and the blood that does flow through our veins, and just using it as, I guess, just a time of self-reflection. And
Yes.
there
Mm.
actually is out there, there is an app, I saw it maybe 1 or 2 years ago, Catholic yoga. And I
Oh,
thought,
really?
my first thought was, oh my God, this has been colonized. They've colonized yoga. So if yoga couldn't be any more whitewashed, it's definitely been whitewashed now, because the
Yeah,
Catholic.
yeah, that's hilarious, actually.
But then I also thought about it, and I thought, you know what? Look, power to the people behind this, because they've taken, I guess they're taking something which they enjoy, and then they're making it work for them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be a way where we also do approach yoga respectfully, in that we're also not denying the roots of where it came from, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to push the traditional custodians of the practice away, because
Yeah.
there's that fine line too. Like, this is where I find, okay, where do I draw the line? And for me, in my classroom, it means I'm not speaking about the spiritual elements, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not using the Sanskrit terms, like I said. But a part of that is also so that everyone understands the poses, and so that when I'm cueing, people do understand what we're doing and where we're going with this, because there's always going to be newcomers to the class that, if I use the traditional name for down dog or a half plank, if I say now we're going into chaturanga, they might think, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
But what I like about, see, my take on yoga class, especially your yoga class, it's like a time of mindfulness, right? That
yeah,
is my time for myself to listen to my body. Because how often do we take time for ourselves during the week to stay still and be quiet and do movements that nourish our body, and also, to be able to listen to our body if something is off,
that's
something is
right.
hurting, like, when do we sit down and shut our minds off and listen?
That's right.
And
That's
to
right.
me, that is the time. And I actually love it in your class when you say you have nowhere to be, there is nothing to, think about, there is no post you have to put out there. Like, you're just like putting us in a state of being present
You're
in the
exactly where you
moment.
need to be at this moment. Yeah.
Yes. And I just love that because it helps us like remind ourselves that like we need to just stop thinking all the time and just like be present in exactly what we're doing right this moment.
Exactly.
And I love, the stillness in the beginning and the end. And to me, it's not long enough because I could lay there for an hour. And because
That
since
seems to be the
I've
shared
really,
consensus.
everybody loves that part. But it's because it's hard for us during the week to make that time to be
Our bodies
still.
crave that, right? Like our minds crave just that quiet calm, and just that it's almost like you're taking a stock take of your body,
Hmm.
and you're just guiding your mind through to say, okay, how is my head feeling? How are my shoulders?
Hmm.
It's something that you wouldn't be doing if you were in any other kind of a fitness class.
Yes.
Because if
Yes.
you're doing, a HIIT class, you're not going to partway through doing lunges start questioning, where am I feeling this and how does it
Yeah,
feel?
yeah, 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 right. And I love that, yoga is not it's intense when you're in the midst of it, but it doesn't look like it because we're moving so slowly, but you're using a lot of your strength that
Yes,
it's just it's so
that's right.
surprising. And then people just don't understand who are not doing it. They
That's
don't
right.
understand the practice, and they won't until they actually give it a shot. And as far as like, the whole opening yourself up to demonic entities and all that stuff, like, you know the devil has no power over you unless you allow it, right?
100%.
and
That's right. That's right.
and to me, once I stopped believing in the devil stopped believing in me.
Yeah.
Devil stopped bothering me. The devil stopped
Yeah.
tempting me, because that's all the devil can do is tempt you. Literally cannot touch you, right? The devil lives between our ears. The
That's
devil is in our mind. The devil is created in our mind.
right.
So
Yeah.
to me, when I'm laying there, I'm actually using that time, which I do this all day, every day. But during that time, I'm not only listening to my body, but I'm talking to God, thanking God for my life, thanking God for this peace and quiet that I have at the moment when nobody is attached to me, nobody's asking anything of me, and it's
That's
just
right.
me there, just being aware of like myself head to toe. You're scanning yourself, you're listening to your breath.
Right.
Like, it's just such a good time for yourself to be
Exactly.
mindful.
Like, what's the difference between meditating in a yoga class and sitting and meditating in a monastery?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
There is no difference. They're both, you're in a state of reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and you're listening to that internal voice. Because some people will say, oh, what if that internal voice sits the demons or whatever? The demons aren't waiting for you to come to a yoga class at
Yeah.
5 p.m. on a Monday and sit and then go, oh, she's on a mat. We better
Oh,
talk to
oh,
her.
oh,
There's,
attack mode.
right? There's a lot more demons out there in human form,
Yeah.
doing God knows what in this world, than there is like coming through. Like, my classes are not a gateway. As soon as you walk
Yes.
through the door, you're not walking through a portal. It
Yeah,
doesn't work
yeah,
that way. I promise you.
yeah. Yeah, it's really at first, before I knew exactly what yoga was, it was very conflicting
Yeah,
because of what you hear and the fear
that's
that
right.
gets laid on you, the
Understanding. Yeah.
yeah, it's but until you're in it, you're like, "Oh, okay. Like, what's so evil about this place?"
That's right. It's literally just if we break it down to its very base, it's movement in and it's anatomy and it's just the body moving. It's just mechanics. It's our body, which is a mechanical machine, just moving.
Exactly. And I love it because, I like doing the other exercises. I like the dancing, I like doing a little bit of weight training, but it's just so different because it's also your mind. It's an exercise for your mind.
Yeah.
You're connecting, you're being one with your body
Yes.
at that time, being aware of your body because we don't take time to do that.
We don't. And it's the hardest thing to do. And the hardest part of yoga is the shavasana, the end, the meditation, because you have to be still.
Yeah.
You have to stop. We're so used to movement, we're so used to being busy, we're so used to, if I'm bored, I'll pick up a phone. My fingers.
Yeah.
I get that, what is it, oxytocin? Good, I'm bored, I get up, I do this. There is no escaping your mind when you're in yoga, in meditation. And even if thoughts come in, we just then are guided to just have those thoughts be faceless and name and don't fight them, just let them be and imagine they're just leaves and they're just flowing.
Yeah.
In that moment, they're not important. They're not significant at all.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and I love that. And I honestly to me that is a priority even though I can't make it all the time, but when I can, I gotta go. My kids know that and I'm like I have to go. Like I don't care what's happening. I
This is
gotta
mama's
go. Like I feel like it's so important for me to have that time
Yeah.
to be still
Yep.
and to stretch because I've had I have a lot of issues that since childhood, back issues and movement. I didn't really realize and I didn't prioritize until the last couple of years is that the flexibility, how, mobility, flexibility, movement is so important to your health.
That's
And
right.
so I've been prioritizing that because I just hate waking up feeling sore and feeling stiff. And I can do those stretches at home. Yes, I do. I try to every day, but it's not like, but do you really cut an hour of your time to do that without being disturbed, without
Yeah.
somebody trying to climb over you?
Right.
It's just, as a mother, it's just, you know,
Yeah.
you know what it's like. We both have a 2-year-old, right?
Yes, we do. They don't stop.
No, they don't stop. And so anytime that I can be away and have time for myself, especially, when it's something that is for my health, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And so you should.
Yeah. So as a movement coach, a trainer, just what are your top 3 non-negotiables for a healthy and strong lifestyle?
Top 3 non-negotiables. Okay. My top 3 non-negotiables, I feel, is if you can, and I'm speaking like worst case scenario, if you've really injured yourself, you're bedbound. I'm not speaking to you right now, but otherwise, if you are someone who can move. So once you start moving, I'll explain a little bit more on that point. When you start exercising and you start that movement and you get into that routine, don't let the wheels come off that train. Even if it means you have to scale back, even if it means you have to drop from, let's say, doing 5 days of exercise a week to 2 days because life is just crazy or hectic, do it. But don't stop. It is a lot harder to restart once you've completely stopped and the discipline is gone. Everyone speaks on motivation. Motivation is fun. It's what gets you started. Discipline is what will keep you going. So the discipline, you got to keep that discipline train moving. Even if it means you drop down to 1 day a week. If you can't get to the gym, you pop on a YouTube video, pop on something that you enjoy, whether it's being goofy in your living room and dancing with the dance marshal, or whether it's doing an actual like HIIT workout using, I don't know, some cans of beans because you don't have some dumbbells. Just keep the movement there. I promise you, you will feel better for it at the end of it. You'll never regret a workout that you did, unless, God forbid, you really injure yourself. But you'll never really regret that. My second non-negotiable is I want you to think of the mind as a garden, okay? And how you water this garden and what you plant in this garden is what then goes on to affect everything else, right? So if you put beautiful plants in this garden and if you water this garden consistently and you're looking after this garden, if you're looking after your mind, then it's going to flourish, then it's going to grow, then everything around it is just going to be a lot more beautiful, right? So this would be my second non-negotiable is along with the movement is also that mental clarity and that mental hygiene, I guess. Just trying to keep your mind right. And if you don't know where to get started and if you don't know how to do it, just ask, reach out. I promise you, there is always going to be someone there that is willing to help, whether it's a coach, whether it's a friend, whether it's a distant relative that you might not have spoken to in a long time that you remember from an experience and you're like, you know what, I was quite comfortable with them and they're like a safe person. Reach out to someone. In this country, in Australia, we've even got those free mental health hotlines you can call.
Yeah.
And I utilised ones that were specifically for pregnant women in my last 2 pregnancies because I get struck down with antenatal depression and the counsellors are fantastic. So we have these hotlines for all sorts of people, not women. For anyone, you can call someone and talk to a complete stranger on the phone. And they are there to help you. So physical movement and mental clarity. And my third one is just get outdoors. When it feels like it's just too much, when you are feeling suffocated, when you are feeling like you're just in that bad headspace, just go outside. I promise you, 10 to 20 minutes of sunlight, even if it's not a sunny day, just being outside there is something so therapeutic and medicinal about just being outdoors, right?
Yeah.
It's just whether you're in, an urban surrounding. I know it's hard for us now as we, get more populated and whatnot to be like, oh, but I don't have a park next to me. I don't care. If you've got a veranda, go stand on your veranda.
Yeah.
But just take a big gulp of air and just take your day a minute at a time if you have to. Because our mind is always going to lie to us and make things into a lot bigger than what they actually are. And hindsight is a beautiful thing because when we look back at things in hindsight, things were either not as big as we thought they were, or scary as we thought they were, or we had the answer and the way to get out of it there all along, but because we were so bogged down, we couldn't see that. So go outside, go into nature. Literally, we say to people now, it's like people say to others as an insult, like, oh, you need to go touch some grass.
No, but there is medicinal properties in being outside. I mean, we were created to be a part of nature. Like, we weren't meant to be indoors.
Right? Just walk barefoot on grass. There's something about it. It's just that connection, connecting to Mother Nature, connecting to the earth, connecting to whatever you want to call it, connecting to God's creation. Just sit and be. So yeah, and it all comes back to general health, my non-negotiables. So just movement and mental clarity, and just the outdoors. Just breathe. Right?
Yes, definitely. With living in the city, for me, the one thing that I do miss is just walking outside and just being surrounded by woods. Because when I was in
Yeah.
America, I was living in the
Yeah.
countryside. So one thing for me now that's really been a big part of my health journey is the clouds. Like, look at the sky. That's a big blue ocean out there. Like,
It's
you just look straight into the sky, look at the clouds, look at the color blue, especially sunset and sunrise, the most beautiful time, and it just changes your whole body chemistry. It just changes your mind. It just, you're instantly
That's
calm.
right. That's right.
It's like instant. You just look at it. Don't take your eyes off it until you
Yeah.
feel like your
Yeah.
nervous system has calmed down,
That's
your
right.
amygdala has just calmed down, and you're
That's right.
just,
Yeah.
and it's there for us. Nature was created for us to be a part of. Being indoors, stuck in front of a screen, yeah, it's gonna cause a lot of health problems. It's gonna, overstimulate you. And then I know now when I'm on my phone too long, I can feel like you can't get off of it because of the addiction has kicked in. But
That's
then you're
right.
also your body is in a state of stress because you're taking in so much information that's too much information for us, that we're not supposed to be knowing so much stuff in a
That's right.
short
That's right.
amount of
Yeah.
time. Like,
Yeah.
we need to go out there and give ourselves a break.
100%. Yeah, we're being bombarded. We at no point in history have we had so much access to so much facts, but also
Yeah.
misinformation.
Yeah.
And it becomes so overwhelming that, like you said, how much does one person take on board? And it's not even about, oh, it's my responsibility to take this on board. It just happens because once you get on your phone and you're endlessly scrolling,
Yeah.
before you know it, you're from watching a reel that's funny to something that's very doom and gloom, and then it's another
Mhm.
funny reel. And our brains are not made to move between those emotions so
Like,
quickly
so quickly,
either.
yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
no wonder that everyone is walking around so dysregulated.
Mhm. Yeah, that's right. And it's funny because there's an app that it's called Be Present, and
Yeah,
I actually love it. The free trial is already over, but for some reason it's still working.
still
Okay,
working.
this is like a gift from God, because I know I'm on Instagram too long, and I have it set for I can open it 10 times a day for 10
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
And you think, "Oh, that's a lot." All right. But when you're on it and you've watched like you think you've only watched like 3 videos, and then after 10 minutes it closes, and you're like, oh
yeah.
dang, and you open it back up, that's another point. And so you've been on it, your 10 chances to open it has like adds up so fast because you're
Yeah,
not done doom scrolling.
yeah, yeah,
And but I love it because it has shown me how much I am on it. And
yeah.
like 10 minutes is more than enough to get a lot of information into your brain.
Right? Yeah. And it's such a wake up call too. I think when so the iPhone, most phones now will give you like a weekly report of your daily average of screen time. And
Yeah.
when you see that, it's a bit of a shock, and you're like, what do you mean I'm spending this many hours or whatnot on
Yeah.
the phone? And then your mind kind of tries to justify it, and you're like, oh no, but I was doing this documents and that, and and I get that a lot of people, they do work off their phone
Mhm.
and emails and whatnot, but it's not hard to also go into your socials and
Yeah.
see the time you're spending on it. Like you said, these apps they'll tell you, they won't lie. Like facts
Mhm.
are facts, right? So it's something that I think we do need to be very mindful of, because I think our generation especially is probably the last generation that remembers what it's like to not have
Yeah.
a little digital
To not
device.
have that. Mm-hmm.
And I keep hearing from, is it Gen Z, the like early 20-something-year-olds? They're like,
Yeah.
I've heard from one person, they said to me, I'm nostalgic for a lifestyle I never even lived.
Oh,
Nostalgic for the 90s, and they weren't even born in the 90s, and they were like, they
yeah.
just look like they were awesome. And I say to them, they were and they weren't, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, I'm like, the 90s was a beautiful time. It was a great time. Like, it was so much fun, and it was, I don't want to say it was a lot more innocent time, but I feel like it was different.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the presence of social media there, I guess, to record every tiny little misstep,
Mm-hmm.
book, or even every happy memory we had. Like, we were forced to save it here mentally. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, right? Yeah.
Even the televisions, there's time, and like the cartoons were timed. Like now it's like we can turn on Netflix and YouTube, like it's
Anytime.
instant.
It
And
is.
so there's always something to distract us. But when
Yeah.
we were kids, we were forced to go entertain ourselves, go forced to go play outside. And it's crazy because I was just thinking this, if I lived in this unit as a kid, my daughter's age at 11, I'd be playing with the neighborhood kids.
Yep.
Everybody in this unit would know each other.
That's right. In your complex, everyone would know each other. You'd probably have like a little sleepovers, or
Yeah, like everybody would be,
yeah,
kids would be running up and down these
yeah.
halls.
There'd be
You would
like
know
rooftop parties.
you'd know
Yeah,
what house, what number, unit number, what floor each kid lives
yeah,
on, you would
yeah,
know all that.
yeah,
And but it's sad because like we would go out onto our the courtyard that's just for the people who live here, or the gym, and it's literally just us, like me and my
yeah,
two girls, which I
yeah,
love. Actually, I do love having the place to ourselves.
yeah,
But the fact that we go out there to play, and there's kids scooters and bikes, little bikes that they just leave there, and so my little girls will play with them. But there should be kids there their age who
yeah,
own those bikes out there playing every day with them. They
yeah,
should have like playmates
yeah.
in their neighborhood. But
How how many kids? I would say, how many kids do you see these days who have, not that it's a good thing, but like broken elbows or broken arms? I remember going to school,
yeah,
be like, 3 or 4 kids at the same time would have like a
yeah,
cast on, and you sign it and whatnot. And now it's so rare. Like, my kids are in primary school. When someone comes to school with like a broken ankle or a wrist or whatnot, they're like, so and so has a cut, and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
only once a year, because the kids aren't outside as often. And if they're
Mhm.
injured, it's usually an injury because of the after school sports.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
because they were out riding their bikes to God knows what time with their friends. Like, we had a curfew, but we didn't. If
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
you
Just be
went
home for
home.
dinner.
You went home when the sun started to come down. There
Yeah.
were no phones. And if someone came over, they left, like, I don't know about you guys, but with us, like, I'm Lebanese, we left a little flower or something on the door, and then you'd come home if you were out, and you'd be like, who visited us while we were out? Like,
Oh, no.
and your parents would go through the whole phone book and start calling people and be like, did you come over? Did you come
Yeah.
to see who came over? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the days. Honestly, like I have so many scars that I got as a kid from like rollerblading races,
Yeah.
skateboard races, like
Yeah.
the whole neighborhood like racing, and it was like a normal day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Really
would love
resigned.
that for my
Yeah.
children.
Yeah. They seem to just be resigned to almost like weekend activities now for kids.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I hate that because like my child, we're going through homeschooling, which she sees kids
Yeah.
in many different places and environments, but to have I don't know, a neighborhood friend, I think that would be so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just someone
Yeah.
you can just go knock on the door. and be like, hey, I'm done with school. You want to go do something, you
That's
know?
it, yeah. Just go hang out like at the local, I don't know, cafe or something. Or,
Yeah. And we live so close to everything. And like,
yeah, yeah.
my daughter, she's so like, she's at 11, I grew up in the Philippines in my early years, and I was riding the tricycle by myself. Like the tricycles are like the public transport where it's like a motorcycle with a cab.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or the jeepneys, I was doing that in kindergarten. But it's also because the place we were living, my dad was a pastor and my mom was a professor at a college, so everybody knew us and we were kind of,
Yeah,
we were safe.
yeah,
But here, my daughter, she wants to learn to have that, to be able to do things on her own. And so, I started letting her like, go to Spotlight by herself with me on FaceTime the whole time. But, like little things, she just wants to have that independence that is so hard for us, because it's just not the same as when it
yeah,
was when we were kids, even
yeah,
though it is safer because there are cameras everywhere.
yeah.
And I let her, carry a phone when she's out and about. But it's just, it's different when there's all the kids are out and not
That's
just one
right.
kid walking around.
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. I agree.
It is what it is, and we're here to still, create uh a new world, a better world for our children and then future generations. And
That's
I
right.
think, as adults now, learning how to regulate our emotions, like doing inner work and, healing our inner child and all those things to, although we can't give them the life that we had as far as freedom to be outside and not have social media, we can still train them to, learn to love themselves and care for themselves. And I think that's kind of our gift to this next
Yeah,
generation, is
yeah,
the stuff that we didn't learn at their age, and
yeah.
now that they are able to learn that at such a young age, to where they will learn how to regulate
That's right.
and and prioritize themselves so that they will have much better lives as adults.
Yeah, agree. Agree.
And
No one taught us self-regulation. So yeah, no, I agree.
to me, I think that is probably a number one,
Mm.
honestly,
Yeah,
thing that we should all learn to do,
yeah,
because our reality, is based off of our nervous system.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
our beliefs, our old programming,
Yeah,
it's all it's all based. Our reality is based on all of that.
yeah,
And for me, the biggest thing for me is, since I've learned to self-regulate and and be able to make my body feel safe and
yep,
my mind feel safe, to where now I can actually heal, because your
yep.
body can't heal when your body doesn't feel safe.
No, of course.
And
No.
and since being able to learn safety, to I can't go back to like old belief systems,
Yeah,
especially ones where, yoga is demonic, stuff like
yeah,
that. Like, I can't go back to those beliefs that
yeah,
put my
yeah,
body in a state of fear.
yeah.
But,
Without
I don't
progress.
like, to me, a belief is just a belief, right?
Mm.
Anybody can believe in anything, but your belief really creates your current reality.
That's exactly.
And
Yeah,
so I choose not to believe in anything that causes fear and dysregulation.
yeah,
And so to my biggest takeaway in life that I've learned in my healing journey is that prioritizing my nervous system is
yeah,
like that's it. Like, if you're going to try to make me feel scared over a practice that I do, like, I'm cutting that off. Like,
yeah.
that doesn't align with who I am, and it doesn't align
Yeah.
with my current belief system.
You're setting up
Because
a boundary.
yeah, and that's the kind of things that I would love for everybody to learn to be able to set their own boundaries when it becomes to their nervous system, prioritizing their nervous system, making sure that their body feels safe so they can actually create a life that is happy and you know and for their bodies to be able to heal, their inner child to be able to heal. And yeah, I don't know, I was just going off some rant. I don't know, it just came to my mind, but you know, I feel like that is such a gift to be able to teach our
Yeah,
children
yeah,
today, to be
absolutely,
able to have that safety,
absolutely,
give
yeah.
ourselves that safety.
Yes, and it
Yeah.
does wonders when you do teach children how to self-regulate. Seeing them model that behavior is something else.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
creates for happier, more regulated, kinder, and calmer children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's really how we change the world, right? We don't change the world by doing anything external. It's changing ourselves. And
yeah,
then within changing ourselves, we're changing the generations below us,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
We
ahead of us, you know. We're changing the world by changing ourselves. That's
we
really
are
how it works.
a
That's how
hundred.
it works.
We joke about two things as yoga teachers. We say if our world leaders did yoga, there'd be no wars. And if
Yeah.
women ran the world, we wouldn't have wars
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The way the world is now is because we have a bunch of, you know, all, you know, children, dysregulated children in adult bodies running the
Pretty
world.
much,
So,
pretty much. Yeah, yeah. Very
but
emotional, dysregulated children when we've been told all along that women are the emotional ones. And I'm like,
no.
uh,
No, yeah. So, before we sign off today, you know, speaking of like, you know, our inner child and all that, if your younger self were to be listening to you today and
mhm.
seeing you today as the person that you are, what message would you leave for her as she listens to you?
Oh, I would tell her to not be in such a rush to get anywhere. Just slow down
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoy where you are at right now in life, because what you're going through now is a stepping stone to what's going to come next. And also, just, I guess this comes from being older and living experiences, of course. Um, just to, I guess, not be such a people pleaser and be a little bit more stronger and what's the word for it? Just more, have more conviction. So if you know that something in your life you want it to do it this way, just do it. Just do it. If it makes you happy and it's not hurting anyone else, just do it. You don't have to listen to everybody else around you and do what they want you to do or be what they want you to be. If there is something that you want to do, just do it. Even now at 40, I don't want to say I have regrets that my life didn't go the way it did in my 20s, because it wouldn't have got me to the point it's gotten me to. And I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. And I have a lot of gratitude for these lessons, whether they've been some really hard lessons and I've had to face some really hard truths. They've brought me to where I am now, and they've molded me into the woman I have become. And I love the woman I've become. She has her days, and I feel like we can be a little bit harder on ourselves than we need to be, especially as mothers. But we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly growing and trying to be a little bit better, just one day at a time. So I'd also say to the younger version of me, like the younger mum who maybe was not yet had her kids yet, just relax a little more. Don't feel like you have to control everything. Like having children, it's got its own timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Kids come in with their own set of rules and with their own lessons to teach us. So just slow down and just savor more of that. And this is definitely something I'm applying with my third, especially because she's very much my last child, and I'm just trying to just savor all her firsts because her firsts are my lasts.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. That's true.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And just really, really hold on to those and just slow down because we're in such a rush. You would know with your first,
Yeah.
you don't know what life has in store for you. You don't know if you're going to have a dozen kids. You don't know if you're going to have 2, 3, 1. You're just in such a rush for their milestones and everything and for just life to happen. So I think whether you've got kids or not, I think we just need to slow down and just enjoy the moment that we're in. Like, just stop and enjoy the people that we're with, and just our surroundings. We are very insignificant beings living on a rock that's floating through space, that's surrounded by other rocks, that was created by an incredible God that we can't even fathom. So I think we just need to stop, breathe, and just enjoy it a little more.
Yeah. Need to be more present.
Be more present. That's it. And also, one final thing I would say to my younger self, I would say to her, you are enough. That's it. You're enough. Exactly as you are enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that is a message that all moms, all moms can take in and resonate with, honestly, because it's not an easy role to play.
No.
It's not, and there's, no one size fits all for
100%.
for everything.
I think until you step into the role, you don't know until you're there exactly what it's like. And the mother is born when the child is born, right? So your old self dies. That labor process, that process of giving birth, whether you're giving birth naturally, C-section, adopting, whatever it is, that part of you has to, in some form, die to make way for the mother then to be born, right? So it's a beautiful transition.
Yeah, it is. It is. And honestly, there's nothing like it. There is no greater calling. No greater calling.
There really isn't. No, there isn't.
Like, it is such a huge responsibility. It is. And like, we don't really see that. We kind of take it lightly when we're like, oh, I want to get pregnant. I want to have this and that. But you really don't know what you're getting into until you get into it.
Right?
You're literally in charge of another soul.
Literally, you're a whole human, and when you become that mother, you realize, oh my goodness, like, I want to raise this little human, this really pure, this really innocent little being as well as I can. Like, I want them to be a decent human being. I want to set the foundation for them to just be a good person and a strong person. I feel like it's not about just shaping our kids now to be physically strong. They've also got to be mentally strong to be able to hold their own in this world that we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, women like us who are very conscious and aware of, our own life.
Yeah.
I think that's where, that is, I mean, we spoke about it earlier, like, that is our greatest gift that we can give to our children is to, be able to actually, work on ourselves to be the best version of ourselves so we can be that model for them and show them how they can be when they grow up.
For sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for everything that you have shared
Thank
today. I
you for
knew that you
having
would have such wonderful insight, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this.
me.
Yeah, it's just, I know that whoever's listening is going to get something out of this, no matter, what stage in life that they are in. What we spoke about today is very important things. And these are messages that I just want out there because,
Yeah,
growing up, and especially when you are in environments where people are not conscious
yeah,
of,
yeah,
their life, of their own selves, and they're
yeah,
not, mindful of anything, but they're just kind of stuck in a program when they're just repeating over, like they're on auto.
yeah,
When you're around people who are like that, it's hard to break free from
yeah,
that same thinking. And I know whoever's listening to this, it's not going to be a coincidence, like, well, you're listening to this because you need something out of this.
yeah.
And I just want to, thank you, Solange, for sharing your insight and, yeah, sharing your mind. And I know that this is going to change some lives. So thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure to be on. Thank you for giving me this space to do this. Thank you.
Oh, and, we are in Sydney, but can you just like quickly put out there where people can find you?
Yes, so online you can find me on Instagram, Sola, so SOLA dot in motion, so Sola in motion. Is my Instagram handle, and you can follow my shenanigans or tips or craziness on there. Otherwise, if you are in Sydney, if you're in Western Sydney specifically, and you are looking to work with a female coach or just looking to attend some yoga classes in general, they can find me at Transform 180, which is right here in Rudy Hill, the growing hub of Western Sydney. And yeah, always happy for anyone who might need to have a chat, to slide into my DMs. Like I said, I wasn't kidding when I said about that point about someone is always there. You just got to reach out. Like, please, I'm always happy to have a chat with people.
Yeah.
They need it, just as long as you're not weird. About asking for some
Yeah.
weird stuff.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely link all where people can find you,
Yes.
and so that will be available for them to, yeah,
Yeah.
and they can follow you and
Awesome.
learn from you. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
again. I hope you
Thank you.
have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.